Normally, code runs from top to bottom. The computer reads each line and does what the code tells it to. Control flow works by changing this system. It allows code to run other ways than just from top to bottom. Control flow can work in a number of different ways. Control flow can make code repeat itself. It can choose whether to run something if it's true or even run code while an event is happening. Control flow allows us to take control of our code and gives programmers more freedom. Swift lets us use a number of control flow statements. We have while loops, for loops, if and switch statements at our disposal, just to name a few. Each of these statements has a special way we write it. Since this is your first look at something different than just single lines in Swift, we will examine each of these in depth. We will be seeing new symbols and vocabulary words in this section, so make sure you pay close attention. First, let's learn some new vocabulary so you can have a better understanding of the material. Starting out, we've heard the word loops thrown around a few times. There are two main types of loops in Swift. There is a while loop and a for-in loop. A loop is a block of code that allows us to repeat an action as long as a specific condition is met. Next, we have if and switch statements. If statements allow us to determine if something is true and then perform an action based off of that. Switch statements do something very similar, except they function in cases. In case of 1 or in case of 2, we do X or Y for a simple example. To break what we learned down even further, let's give you some simple explanations. If and switch statements are for deciding which path to take. Should I go left or right? For and while loops are for repeating actions over and over until something happens. When programmers write code, it is essential to tell the computer what it has to do in a different situation. The first and most common feature in all programming language is if. This conditional statement works only if the condition is true. Syntax. Here the Boolean underscore expression represents a condition. If the condition evaluates to true, then only statements in the block will be executed. Otherwise, the flow of control will skip those statements and will execute the next lines. Here the if statement is followed with an optional else statement. The else statement gets executed only if the Boolean expression, i.e., the condition, gets false. The general form of the statement is Let's take an example. Now, let's break down code. Here the variable number is initialized to 10. Then we check whether the condition is true, i.e., whether the value is greater than 0. Here, the condition evaluates to be true, thus the statements inside the if block is executed and the else block is skipped. Thus the output will be Here is another form of a conditional statement to control the flow of your code, which is the switch statement. The switch statement is used as a substitute for long if-else if statement while matching complex patterns. Here a different block or case is executed. As the case value matches the block of the statement following, the case gets executed. Syntax. Here, expressions are the values or the case to which the expression is tested. Here, if you do not use fall-through statement, then the program will come out of switch statement after executing the matching case statement. So the fall-through statement is equally important in executing switch statements of Swift language. If-else are known as control flow statements. Switch case works similarly as if-else. But, if there are many conditions to be checked, switch case is used.